Hi everybody, Josiah here, also known as Chilling Silence on behalf of the DigiByte Foundation, and today I want to have a chat with you about 51% attacks, also known as a double spend attack. So what we have here is a user who's basically taken it upon themselves as a kind of more of a white hat sort of hacker. Now, a white hat hacker is basically somebody who is intent on helping people in a kind of in a genuine sort of way. And let's help you fix this together kind of way. Let's point out the issues in such a way that it's not going to directly affect your network, and you're not going to basically lose out on any data or be attacked as a direct result of it. However, this particular user, unfortunately, when they were going to live stream a 51% attack, they ended up getting reported a whole bunch of times. So it says here basically, Reddit user will live stream 51% attack against Einsteinium on Twitch. If we scroll up a little bit though, it gets really entertaining. Twitch basically shut him down, unfortunately. Same for then the next one. A whole lot of people came in and started to report this guy and report his stream, so he wasn't actually able to go through with it in the end. Same for people renting hash power to basically help bolster the Einsteinium network. Now, this hash power that was rented was basically over and above anything that was profitable at the time, so people were simply renting it for a couple of hours in the hopes that it would kind of temporarily stop this. Now that's bad, because a normal person, if they're attacking the network as a genuine attacker, if somebody is wanting to do a double spend attack, they're not going to broadcast it to the whole world and basically say, look at me, I'm going to come and I'm going to attack your network and I'm going to double spend and I'm going to... It doesn't happen. So the fact that whoever it was who rented this hash power to help make the network genuinely more secure, it's a complete waste of time, and I think it's actually genuinely stupid. So what we'll do though is we'll go to this particular website. Now this came out a little while ago, and in fact Charlie Lee's even mentioned this a couple of times. Now this basically estimates how much it would cost to perform a 51% attack against a particular network. So in this case, like if we were to have a look at Bitcoin, right now you would only be able to rent 1% of all of the available hash power that you would need in order to actually attack the network and to perform a 51% attack. If we then look at, let's scroll down a little bit though, and let's go for, say for example, Bytecoin. Bytecoin uses the kryptonite algorithm. The current hash rate is 469 megahash per second. So if you were to attack the network for 1 hour, the estimated cost based on if you were to rent it from NiceHash is $543 US. Now, it says here NiceHashable. What does that mean? So basically, if you were to go to NiceHash, let me quickly bring this up here, NiceHash. Let's bring up SHA-256. So these are basically, NiceHash is a place where you can go to rent hash power. Traditionally, you would rent the hash power to mine legitimately, so you wouldn't rent the hash power to attack the network, but people can use this hash power to create a double spend, basically. So what we'll do is we'll go back here, and there's a bunch of these coins. So if we look at Metaverse ETP, they use ETH hash, which is the same as Ethereum. There's currently 1 terahash per second. It would cost you $887 US, and you can rent over 700% of the needed power to attack it. Same for with Monocoin. They've currently got a market cap of 76 million. They use Lyra 2 RE version 2, which is the same as Vertcoin. Their current hash rate is 4 terahash per second, so it would cost you about $1,200 for an hour's worth of renting the miners to perform a double spend attack. So let's have a quick look at what a double spend attack is. It's basically, you've got a genuine chain that kind of, it marches on with normal people mining the blocks and transactions and things like that. So what a double spend attack is where somebody will, in private, keep a certain amount of the mining hash power on their own particular blockchain. So what I'll do is I'll bring up a bit of a, let's make a bit of a demonstration here. So this is going to be the normal blockchain, and it marches on. So what happens is an attacker will come down here and they will split off the chain and they will start mining themselves, but everything that you see in here, oh, that's not transparent, that's useful. everything that you see in this bottom fork here of the chain is basically, it's done in private. So actually this is really cool. Let's put that little firewall in there. So it's done privately, so it's not able to be seen by the rest of the world. Basically, they firewall off their nodes, their mining pool, their hash power, all that sort of thing, and their actual node that has the blockchain. And it's not until they'll fork the chain and they'll mine around here in private. So what we would then have is, let's say down here we perform the spend. Now what a spend usually is somebody who sends a bunch of their cryptocurrency through to an exchange. For example, let's say in this particular instance he was going to use Einsteinium. So what happens here is, this is where they would actually, can I label this? This would be really nifty. Start typing text. Fork the chain, send to exchange. So what happens here is they fork the chain and they send it off to an exchange. Oh, I can even move it up. How nifty. So this is where you would deposit, let's say you deposit $1 million worth of Einsteinium. Now what happens is, up the top here, this is the normal, I suppose, blockchain. And if each one of these were a block, what would happen is they'll march on in their normal kind of pattern, I suppose. Now because down here you've gone and rented hash power, and the rented hash power is a higher hash rate than the main chain, what you are able to do is you're able to bring this all the way along here a whole lot faster than the main chain, because you have more hash power, you're able to find the blocks more quickly. So what that basically means is, when you get down to, let's say you get down to here, so you've sent this money, you've deposited it into the exchange on the main chain. However, on your private one, what you've done is you've gone and sent it to yourself. So you've basically kept it. You've sent it off to another wallet that you control. So then down here, basically, you take your firewall off. You end up announcing everything back to the rest of the network. And as a result, you are a whole lot further along with your blocks than up here. Actually, what we can do is, let's just quickly, for argument's sake, we'll put this all the way up here. You announce everything, you send it back to the rest of the world, and all of a sudden, because your chain is longer than the main chain, yours is now what everybody else believes is a true and accurate record. Now what happens is, on the exchange level, so all the way back here, what you need to do, I suppose, if you were attacking a blockchain, is in this particular area here that we can see I'm highlighting, this is basically when you're going to the exchange and you are selling off your, in this instance he was going to do Einsteinium and then subsequently Bitcoin private. So you're going to the exchange, you're selling it all off. You'll likely receive Bitcoin in return, you'll then take that Bitcoin and cash it out. Now again, most exchanges require KYC and other things like that, so you know, there's a good chance that you're going to be found out. This sort of thing doesn't usually happen over walking into Starbucks, paying for Starbucks, you know, with a cup of coffee, and then you try and double spend it to roll it back. Now, the reason for that is because if we look here, in order to attack the network for 1 hour, it would cost you a little over $500,000. However, in this instance, if you look at how much is NiceHashable for Bitcoin, only 1% of that you could actually rent from NiceHash. So you can't rent enough hash power to double spend on the Bitcoin network. So, how is this different with DigiByte? So we'll keep this at the top here, but I'll try and draw another one down the bottom just underneath it. So this is the main DigiByte chain here. So what happens is, let's say somebody were to try and basically fork off and split the network and start mining in private. So what we would have down here is they would fork it off. Let's also put a nice firewall in here just for, it looks pretty. Then what the attacker would try and do, again, same sort of scenario, we will say that here is where they send their DigiByte from their personal wallet into an exchange. However, DigiByte is different. Now, the reason DigiByte is different is because if we go and, let's grab this one here, what happens with DigiByte is each algorithm has approximately a 20% chance of finding the next valid block every 15 seconds. Now, the way that it does this is when you find a block, it's going to increase the difficulty for that particular algorithm a certain amount so that you don't then end up finding the next block, or the chance of you finding the next block is less compared to the other 4 algorithms that are happening concurrently. So what I'll do is I'll bring up the digibyte.io website. Let's pop this up here. And I believe this is under blockchain that we can go. Let's scroll down. Where do we fit into the blockchain industry? Here we go. So, DigiByte mining breakdown. So what we've got is these 5 different mining algorithms. So, if you are Bitcoin, all that you have is this SHA-256. If you're a Litecoin, all that you have is scrypt. Because DigiByte has the 5 of them, what happens is it gets staggered. And so between all 5 different mining algorithms, there is a 20% chance of finding the next block. So, let's say you are an attacker, and let's say you go and, sorry, let's go back here. Let's say you are renting, let's say you're renting scrypt, which is the Litecoin algorithm. Because you only have a 20% chance to find the next valid block, you're going to find the block effectively 20% slower than all of the other blocks. So it would actually be really handy if I could figure out how to quickly color code this. Oh, I can do themes, yay. So what you would find is that your block would be found here, and then you would have this huge period of time in which you're going to wait, and then you'll find the next block. And then you would find the next block over here, and then the next block might take ages until you find it, and you find it over here. So what you're going to find has happened is, in that same period of time as the main chain has gone and mined all of this, you've only actually found 4 blocks, when the main chain might have found, let's say, I suppose they'd have found 20 blocks by that time. So what happens then is when we take all of these and we basically put them all together, because you are only mining one algorithm here, your chain is going to be a whole lot shorter. So then when you try and announce it to the world again, your chain is shorter, and so everybody basically looks at you and they go, "Ah, your chain's really short. You can't be the legitimate chain because this one we've got over here has had so much more work put into it. The blockchain is longer, and so this is the valid chain." So what you would have to do if you were to attack DigiByte is basically to use all 5 of these different mining algorithms all concurrently, all at the same time. Now, why does this matter? This matters because at the moment there's enough mining power for you to rent if you wanted to, specifically for SHA-256. I'm not entirely too sure if there is for scrypt, but I know that there certainly is not for Qubit, for Grostel, or for Skeen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the What to Mine website. And let's bring this up here. Let's go to coins. And what we'll do is we'll go all the way down to, actually, let's just go to ASIC. This is probably what we want. Sorry, I should bring this onto the main window. So what we will do is, rather than scrypt, let's have a look, for example, at Skeen. I'm going to pretend that I've got 1.7 gigahash. Now, why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this so that you can see, basically, compared to all of the other coins out there at the moment that are mining with Skeen, or at least the popular ones, if you had hash power, at the moment, you can see this is the difficulty and the network hash rate. So the network hash rate for DigiByte is currently 44 terahash per second. The hash rate for Skeen coin is 7 gigahash per second, and for Myriad Skeen is 2.2 terahash per second. So let's say you happen to rock on up and somehow you've managed to get yourself, let's say you've got 20 terahash. Is that useful for you to attack DigiByte? Not in the slightest. You're going to need to go and at least rent 45 terahash, because remember, you need 51%, in theory, you need to be slightly faster than the main chain. So you probably even want to give yourself a little bit of a buffer, because obviously it's not a guaranteed every 15 seconds you're going to find it. So you might in fact need more than 45 terahash, you might need 50 terahash of hash power in the Skeen. However, keep in mind that that's only going to give you enough to find the Skeen mining algorithm here, which is 20%. So in addition to this, so needing to rent that much hash power, you would also need to do it for, let's take Qubit for example. So if we calculate Qubit here, you can see here that we are the primary chain with 35 terahash. Now on NiceHash at the moment there's an additional 27 terahash, so that means that you've basically got to have, what are we looking at, another 8 terahash worth of mining hash power that you can pluck out of the air, or that you've purchased your own mining ASICs or GPUs, for example, even though GPUs can no longer really mine Qubit. So the reason that I specifically mention this is to kind of reassure you that, although if we have a look here, you can see that there are a bunch of them. So if we type in SHA-256, we can see there's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, there's Litecoin Cash, and Unobtainium. Now, there's, for example, if you are Litecoin Cash, you can easily have enough hash power rented to attack your network at the moment, and it would cost you approximately $155 to attack it for an hour's worth of blockchain. If you were to compare that, let's go with scrypt. So you can see here, Litecoin are pretty safe. There's only 6% that's able to be rented, so you would have to find the remaining, basically 95% elsewhere. You'd have to have the miners yourself. And the current, I suppose, value of all of those ASIC miners is somewhere in the millions and millions and millions of dollars. Dogecoin are scrypt as well. They're merge mined with Litecoin. Einsteinium down here, which is what they attempted to attack, though, it only cost you $18, and right now you can rent far more hash power than you actually need. So, although at the time this temporarily increased because there was I think it was like a 100-fold increase in the hash power back when Geocold was attempting to do the attack, this has very rapidly dropped right down. So let's say that this white hat hacker, who was simply doing it to demonstrate, and so what we can see is up here further on, he demonstrates and he says, where is he? If I was able to fork it, I would elected not to. He tries to say somewhere else. Where was it? That he basically wasn't doing it to be bad. To be clear, I'm not attacking any exchange. I'm forking the blockchain. Transactions will be exclusively to wallets that I own. So he's being a good dude in this instance. He's not trying to basically double spend the money and effectively double his holdings. What he's doing is basically just demonstrating how it would occur. What I'm doing, I suppose, with this video is more the theory behind it, because I've never actually seen it done myself. So a lot of this is more just a kind of an educated assumption or guess, I suppose. But yeah, so with Einsteinium here, all that you would need is $18 to attack the network for an hour. You can rent it all, and there's nothing really preventing that, which is why I talk specifically about DigiByte being the main chain. It's got more hash power than anything else in 3 of these. So right now we are primary for Qubit, primary for Grostal, and Skein mining algorithm. There is nothing else out there at the moment that has more hash power than we do. And so that's what keeps it secure as well. So in addition to having the 5 mining algorithms, you would have to be renting 5 different sets of hash power. But I suppose in addition to this, it's also worth noting that there isn't enough hash power to even be rented on Qubit, Grostal, or Skein to attack DigiByte, in addition to the fact that we are the primary source of hash power for those 3 different algorithms. And that's what largely contributes to the security of DigiByte, by being multi-algo. So if we have a look back on here, if we search for Skein, there's nothing. If we search for Grostal, again, there's nothing. And if we search for, what was the other one, Qubit, there's nothing. I do know that you can rent these from NiceHash, so I think it's Qubit you can rent. It's not to say, it definitely is, because if we go back here, it actually says NiceHash Qubit. So it's not to say that they're not available to be rented, but the hash power that is available to be rented is not sufficient. So this is what contributes to the security of DigiByte. So if we were to go back here, and try and, I suppose, show you an example of what that looks like. Can I delete these easily? Not really. So what you would need to do is you would need to have your first one here, which would be scrypt. You would also need to have additional hash power from this one, which might be SHA-256. You would have Qubit hash power, you would have your Myriad Grostal, and you would have your Skein. And then what happens is, as the blockchain comes along, the theory is that, not specifically in this order, but there's a 20% of each being the next block that is found. So this is why, if somebody did attempt to attack DigiByte, they need to have the hash power in all of these. Now the fact that we are like I mentioned, the primary hash power source in both Qubit, Myriad Grostal, and Skein, that also further contributes, rather than just being one primary source of hash power. Now, the reason that I mention this is specifically if you were to, let's say, take all of the scrypt hash power, and right now, let's have a quick look. Can we sort this? We can't sort this. That's unfortunate. We can see, though, that Litecoin is the primary source of scrypt hash power with 250 terahash per second. We are well and truly second at the moment with 5 terahash, but it's pretty obvious, though, that Litecoin has way more than just 51% of the DigiByte hash power. So what would happen if they took that and they threw that at DigiByte? Nothing. Now the reason for that is, as I mentioned back here, if this row here is the scrypt algorithm blocks, you only have a 20% chance. So what might happen is, let's say that you were to throw all of the hash power that's ever been used on Litecoin into DigiByte, you might get a couple of blocks to begin with. So it might end up looking a little bit more like this. What we'll do is we'll just quickly drag these over here for demonstration purposes. So it might look a little bit more like this with 1, 2, let's say you even get 3 blocks in a row. So what? After that, you're then back to this 20%, where if you are only attacking with the scrypt hash power, you're sweet out of luck, because DigiShield is what is going to push the difficulty sky high really rapidly to ensure that you are only finding those blocks every 20 seconds. So, I hope this has been educational. I hope you've learned a thing or two just about how a 51% attack would theoretically happen. I hope you've also had a look at this. This is the crypto51.app website. And also here, this is what to mine. So you can use this to go and kind of check up on things yourself. Do some math and verify it, and try and figure out how much it might cost you to rent that hash power. Go to NiceHash and see if you can rent the hash power for SHA-256, and have a look at other places where you can rent hash power as well, and see if you can find somewhere that will rent you sufficient hash power for Myriad, Rostal, Qubit, and even Scheme, because at the moment that hash power simply doesn't exist. Right now it is all out there, it is all mining the genuine main chain of DigiByte, and that's what helps keeps it safe, that's what helps keeps it secure, and that's what helps prevent these double spend 51% attacks. So, like I said, I hope this has been informative. I'll be hanging out in the comments below. If you'd like to leave me a comment, ask any more questions, feel free to sing out. Otherwise, I'm at DGB_chilling on Twitter, and I will talk to you in the next video. Cheers!